Morning. So today is the day. It's about 2 hours until the doors open at Wonderwool, so I'm going to be starting my journey shortly. I've already had a look at the list of vendors, and there's a few that I'm really excited to visit first. So I'll be definitely visiting the Camel's Yarn. They have a really beautiful selection of sock yarns and accent colours. And I'm really interested in getting a couple of those, but every time I've looked online, they've been out of stock. So hopefully they have got a good supply for the stall today. I will also be visiting the Arbon Textiles stand. So they do a really beautiful range of merino, double knit merino. It's called the knit by numbers, colour by numbers. I'll update you on that, but either way, really, really gorgeous. I bought a couple of skeins a few years ago, and they're super soft, super beautiful yarns. And I will also be visiting the SKD stand, which I think stands for Scandinavian Knits distributor or something like that. But either way, they're a big stockist of Sandnes garn in the UK, and there's some double Sunday in the colour marzipan that I really want, because I really want to make a Moby sweater with that. So those are my three first ones. There's also some really gorgeous Corriedale sheep, Welsh Corriedale sheep. Either way, lots of other vendors that have really got me excited. But yeah, so here we go.
So my first stop at Wonderwool was at SKD Yarns, as I had anticipated, and I did make a purchase there, but I didn't get any footage. The next stop I made was at this stall, which is River Knits, who had the most sensational selection of solid colours, but an even more sensational collection of variegated yarns, and I was very attracted to these shelves in particular, all of the greens and blues and purples. I really love that green and purple that you see in the top left hand corner there, but to be honest, I think I would very happily knit with any of the yarns on this shelf. I didn't make a purchase on this occasion just because I didn't have a project in mind, but I absolutely would purchase from them again. Delicious yarns. This was the next stand that really tickled my pickle. Their beautiful selection of yarns on the wall there in the natural undyed fleece. I think that would make a really beautiful colourwork jumper. Just highlighting that yarn is beautiful on its own and there's no need to dye it. That said, they did have this beautiful selection of dyed yarns as well, all made with organic dyes, and I was particularly attracted to this greeny blue colour. I didn't make any purchases from this stand only because I didn't have a project in mind, but really beautiful. A new to me brand is Along Avec Anna. This Paloma colour really spoke to me and I believe is a suitable alternative for the knitting for olive mohair and soft silk mohair. Merino and soft silk mohair, but again I didn't purchase with no project in mind. And then I got to go to the John Arbon stall, which is what I was very excited to see. Just look at this selection of socks on that washing line. I mean, that is a washing line to be envious of for sure, and definitely made me want to up my sock knitting game. Just look at the craftsmanship that has gone into those. Absolutely beautiful. And equally as beautiful is their selection of colours that they have on display. So you can see there all rich tones all the way through to pastels and everything in between. You can see there's lots of people enjoying the stall there. I did pick some blues that I was particularly attracted to. The girls, they were really helpful. They held up a mirror, let me really have a good look at the yarn colours, and these are the ones that I chose. I haven't purchased, but I've earmarked them for a future project. And as you can see, they have barrels and barrels of tops available for all those spinners just ready and waiting to be spun into beautiful yarn. I think I'm going to bring you back to see the socks again just because they were absolutely sensational. So there were lots of stands that had woven products available. Weaving is something I'm very interested in but haven't yet been able to find the time to prioritise that, but I was very impressed with the selection there. And moving on to Sincerely Louise. This is Louise, you'll see now, behind the counter with the dark hair. She has the most sensational selection of children's toys and sells little kits with everything you need to make each one of these. I can honestly say they're really unique and individual, not something I've really seen anywhere else. these cute little cats I'm sure my daughter would love, and I think these rainbows would make a perfect gift for any baby's nursery, so highly recommend checking her out. I stopped for a little bit of lunch, had a lovely mushroom pizza, and then I carried on, so straight back into the toys section with Edward's Menagerie there, which I believe the brand is Toft Yarn. I didn't purchase any. I was very, very tempted, and I think had my daughter been with me, I absolutely would have had my arm twisted into that. But again, really, really, really beautiful selection of children's toys. And then this stand stood out to me. It shouted out to me from the walkway. So you can see James there on the right hand side with the pink sweatshirt on and the red hair. James dyes all his own yarns, the most eccentric colours, and absolutely an absolute dream for my daughter, I'm sure. I didn't purchase again without a project in mind, but definitely something that I've earmarked to come back to later in the year. I moved on to the equipment section and had a little play with all of the carding machines. Really, really interested in potentially spinning my own yarn at some point in the future. I don't feel I'm quite in the right space in my life now for more fibre arts, but something that I'm looking forward to. And then moving on to this stand, which was absolutely beautiful. The selection, the Wonky Weavers, I believe this one was called. So the selection of ball winders and swifts in these eccentric colours, but for every ball winder there was a swift that matched in colour or pattern. So if you're in the market for a ball winder, I highly recommend them. I had a little play and they're really sturdy, really good quality. I also was considering getting a set of mini needles to make short circumference like socks and things like that, and these were the two kits I was looking at, so one by Knit Pro and one by Chalgu. I was particularly taken by the Chalgu set. I didn't purchase just because I felt that would have been quite a big impulse buy had I purchased on the spot, but it's made its way onto my wish list, so something that I'm working towards. And then I took a picture of this vest, which I think was sweater vest, or I don't know what you would call it, but tank top maybe. The colours were absolutely sensational. I really, really loved the pattern. I think a lot of work has gone into this, and this is something that I would be very proud if I had made myself. I took a picture for inspiration, but just to credit whoever made this, you are incredible. Yeah, really beautiful piece of work there. And then I got to meet the little sheepies. So here's a little blue-faced Leicester chomping away, and his buddies there at the back. So we got to meet some of the animals and touch some of the animals and see their little babies. And then on display they had a real selection of bags of yarn, so we could have a feel of all the fleece that was available and just to see what colours it comes in. So I found that really interesting. I know that wouldn't necessarily be interesting to all knitters, but certainly something that I found interesting. And that pretty much wrapped up my day at Wonderwool. I was completely exhausted by the end of the day and was very much looking forward to going home, and I can't wait to share all my purchases with you in the next podcast, so stay tuned for that. Bye!